There's a version of you that performs, a version that speaks, reacts, adjusts. And then there's the version that exists when no one is watching. No audience, no feedback, no consequences. That version makes choices quietly, scrolls differently, thinks differently, feels things you never explain. Science tells us that this version of you is not accidental, it's not random. It's the most neurologically honest expression of who you are. By the end of this video, you'll understand why behavior changes in solitude, what your brain reveals when external pressure disappears, and why what you do alone predicts your future more accurately than what you say in public. And once you recognize these patterns, you'll start noticing them everywhere, especially in yourself. Human beings evolved as social organisms. Our brains are wired to constantly monitor how we are perceived. This function is controlled largely by the medial prefrontal cortex, which activates when we think about how others see us. When people are around, this region is highly active. It shapes behavior, suppresses impulses, and aligns actions with social norms. When nobody is watching, this activity decreases. What replaces it is the default mode network, the system associated with self-referential thought, memory, and internal narratives. In other words, public behavior is regulated. Private behavior is revealing, not morally, biologically. Self-control is metabolically expensive. It requires glucose, attention, and executive function. When people are alone, the brain conserves energy by relaxing control mechanisms. This explains why people snack mindlessly when alone, procrastinate more in private, revisit thoughts they avoid in public, indulge habits they claim they're over. This is not hypocrisy. It's ego depletion, a well-documented psychological phenomenon. The brain prioritizes efficiency over consistency when external accountability disappears. What you do alone isn't who you pretend to be. It's who your brain defaults to when effort is removed. One of the most studied modern indicators of private identity is screen behavior. When alone, people scroll longer than intended, seek stimulation over meaning, gravitate toward familiar emotional loops. This happens because solitude removes social reward and replaces it with dopamine-seeking behavior. The brain looks for quick regulation, not growth. This is why people don't use free time wisely when alone. The nervous system seeks relief, not improvement. Your algorithm doesn't define you. Your repeated private choices train your brain. When you replay conversations in your head, imagine scenarios, or mentally argue with people who aren't there, that's not weakness. That's the brain trying to predict future outcomes. The hippocampus and prefrontal cortex simulate situations to reduce uncertainty. It's a survival function, but excessive rehearsal signals something important. Your brain is stuck between who you are and who you think you need to be. The gap between public identity and private thought creates cognitive tension. That tension shows up only when you're alone. Some behaviors exist only in solitude, avoiding difficult tasks, seeking comfort without limits, delaying decisions, letting thoughts spiral without interruption. These behaviors are not character flaws. They are regulation strategies. The brain asks, how do I feel right now? Not, what kind of person do I want to become? The private self optimizes for immediate nervous system balance. The public self optimizes for acceptance. The difference between the two determines growth or stagnation. Here's the part most people don't like hearing. The version of you that no one sees is the one shaping your future. Not your intentions, not your explanations, not your public discipline. Your private patterns train your brain quietly, daily, without witnesses. And if that makes you uncomfortable, that's not a bad sign. It means awareness just activated.